Notice how physically draining it is to just think. It feels exhausting to be constantly dragged around by the noise inside your own head. One minute you're reliving a trivial conversation from 3 years ago. The next, you're stressing over a work email or mapping out a disaster scenario for next week that likely won't happen. It often feels like you have no say in the matter. We feel completely at the mercy of whatever random thought pops up to demand our attention. This creates a chronic state of fatigue. We spend our entire day chasing after these thoughts or trying to run away from them. An ancient text called the Shurangama Sutra offers an interesting pivot. It suggests that all of this mental struggle is actually based on a fundamental mistake. This text serves as a record of centuries of careful observation regarding how human consciousness functions. The text provides a specific diagnosis. We are suffering because we have confused who we really are within the landscape of our own minds. If that's true, finding peace would involve looking closer at our own minds to see where we've mistaken our identity. The sutra explains this using a metaphor. Imagine a bustling inn where travelers are constantly arriving. These travelers represent your fleeting thoughts, your sudden emotions, and worldly sensory distractions. They burst through the doors, they make a mess, they demand attention, and eventually they pack up and leave. This state of constantly reacting to everything coming and going is what the text calls the false mind. But look past the noise and you see the innkeeper. The innkeeper stands quietly behind the counter, observing the chaos without joining it. The innkeeper doesn't pack a bag or head for the exit. This figure represents your true mind or your core awareness. Your thoughts are temporary guests. Your true awareness is the permanent host. To deepen this, picture a ray of sunlight shining through a window. In that light, you see thousands of tiny, frantically swirling dust motes. Those chaotic specks of dust are our daily anxieties and rapid-fire thoughts. Now shift your attention away from the dust and look at the empty space that is holding it. While the dust is in a frenzy, the space itself remains still. It doesn't shake and it doesn't change. We discover here that our deep nature mirrors that undisturbed space, providing a quiet place for the dust to exist without being affected by its movement. This brings us to the core of our stress. We suffer because we mistake ourselves for the moving parts of our mind. We grow up believing we actually are the swirling dust and the noisy guests. Because we believe we are the dust, we spend our lives exhausting ourselves trying to control the wind. The sutra points us toward an unshakable peace that comes from stepping back and observing these movements from a distance. In this view, psychological suffering happens when we forget we are the quiet room and start fighting the noise inside it. Practicing this means letting the guests be. You cannot force them out of the inn, and you cannot magically vacuum up every speck of dust in the sunlight. Fighting, suppressing, or arguing with your thoughts only creates more noise and more exhaustion. The real goal is simply remembering your role as the host in the exact moment a thought arises. When stress arrives, you acknowledge it as a temporary guest visiting the inn. You don't have to follow it out the door. You stay seated as the innkeeper while the stressful thought runs its course. Liberation arrives when we stop letting our thoughts drag us away from our seat. The noise of life and work will always continue to come and go. Real practice involves bringing this awareness into our messy, shared human lives. The world outside will always be loud, yet there is an internal quiet that is permanently available to everyone. The noise will always come and go, but the quiet inside you never leaves.